Fantastic. Well, thanks again for giving me the opportunity. Thanks to Ron and the Angelbeat team for giving me again the opportunity to come to this great audience and give you some of the news about the fantastic updates that came out of the recent Reinforce Security Summit that just ended in lovely Anaheim, California. I'm Bert Below. I am a senior solutions architect here with AWS. I work for the worldwide public sector, and I have a particular focus on security, where I have a lot of conversations with our customers in the edtech space about how best to secure their AWS workloads and cloud applications. Let's see what's going on here. There we go. So AWS Reinforce 2023 commenced in Anaheim, California on June 13th and 14th. For those of you not aware, Reinforce is an annual security conference where learning is prioritized, featuring AWS experts and industry-leading customers. Our AWS CISO, CJ Moses, Becky Weiss, the senior principal engineer at AWS, and Debbie Wheeler, the CISO of Delta Airlines, kicked off the event with the keynote address, where they talked about 11 new services focusing on security that we've announced for customers this year. So let's dive into those announcements. First up is Amazon Verified Permissions. This was a general availability announcement for a previously announced service. Amazon Verified Permissions is a scalable permissions management and fine-grained authorization service for the applications you build. The service enables your developers to build secure applications faster by externalizing authorization and centralizing policy management and administration. The developers using the service can align their application with zero trust principles by implementing least privilege and continuous verification within applications. Security audit teams can better analyze and audit who has access to what within applications. You're going to hear us talk a lot about our focus going forward on the open source community. Amazon Verified Permissions uses Cedar, an expressive and analyzable open source policy language that allows developers and admins to define policy-based access controls using roles and attributes for content-aware access control. So if you've ever been in the position of having to develop fine-grained access controls for your custom applications, we're really confident that by building on the open source foundations of the Cedar language, Amazon Verified Permissions is going to greatly simplify and reduce some of the complexity involved in fine-grained access control for those customer-facing applications. And as Ron mentioned, if anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand. Next up is the first of two Amazon Inspector launches. We're pleased to announce that Amazon Inspector now supports scanning your application code within a Lambda function for code security vulnerabilities. Our customers can now scan Lambda functions for code security vulnerabilities such as injection flaws, data leaks, and weak cryptography. Using generative AI, Amazon Inspector provides in-context code patches for multiple classes of vulnerabilities, reducing the effort required to fix code vulnerabilities. The second launch by the Inspector team brings the ability of Amazon Inspector to automate and centralize the management of a software bill of materials, or SBOM for short. With this feature, Amazon Inspector now offers the ability to export a consolidated software bill of materials, or SBOM, for all Inspector monitored resources across a customer's organization in multiple industry standard formats, including Cyclone DX and SBDX. With this new capability, customers can use automated and centrally managed SBOMs to gain visibility into key information about their software supply chain. This includes details about software packages used in the resource, along with associated vulnerabilities. SBOMs can be exported to an S3 bucket and downloaded for analyzing with Athena QuickSight to visualize software supply chain trends.
Hey, Bert.
Yeah.
One quick thing I just want to make sure, because I see a couple of common themes here, is the importance of automation in two ways. First, it looks like what AWS is doing is like we can help automate the discovery of vulnerabilities, be it in code or other solutions. And we can also help automate the correction of vulnerabilities or risk profiles. And so as it's doing that, it places a greater premium on being more a strategic architect as opposed to being the person who has to go into the depth of code to identify that vulnerability itself. Is that about right?
You hit the nail on the head. Yeah, if you've spent any time in the security ecosystem within AWS, you'll see that we have very intentionally aligned all of our security services and just our larger security thinking to the NIST cybersecurity framework. And for those of you not aware, I should probably have this in a slide that's easy to pull up here. But there are 5 capabilities that are outlined in the NIST cybersecurity framework and that are part of the way that Amazon thinks about cybersecurity across all of our product lines: recover, identify, protect, detect, and respond. And you've hit the nail on the head, Ron. Some of the highest operational burden that we hear from our customers are around the identify and detect pillars within that cybersecurity framework. There's a lot of manual data diving. There's a lot of logs that have to be correlated, parsed, and that puts a lot of operational burden on our team. I actually just recently heard this week an anecdote that I'm going to start incorporating into some of my conversations about this, that data science and cybersecurity are really the same field. So what we're seeing with a lot of these announcements around inspector and detective are really taking a lot of that operational burden and, exactly as you said, building automation into the detection and identification of security vulnerabilities and attackers that may be targeting your environment, so that you can focus on faster remediation, faster time to recovery across your entire application suite.
So one thing is people need to be aware of this, and it comes across a lot. It's not like this is replacing your job, or if that's what you look at it, but this is a great catalyst for helping you understand, okay, I need to be more of a strategic architect, understanding what AWS can do. So as opposed to my spending 20 hours every week looking at detailed code, suddenly in minutes or maybe an hour or two, I can see the vulnerabilities, fix them, and then be more of a strategic value add employee, which should you get you promoted and get you more money, as opposed to being, to use an old like start of the cloud analogy, someone who's just racking and stacking servers. Then the cloud came, that became less value added, but the person who could architect what to do on-prem versus what to do in the cloud got promoted. It'll be the same scenario here.
Well said. So the next announcement that we can touch on here is an announcement from the Security Hub and Guard Duty team. Amazon Detective has announced an expanded capability to integrate finding groups within the Inspector Suite and aggregate those within the Amazon Guard Duty findings. Using machine learning, this is extension of the existing finding group functionality significantly streamlines the investigation process. And this aligns directly with what Ron was just saying. There is a slew of data. There is a never-ending stream of insights, of logs coming out of all of these systems, with the ability to more intelligently aggregate all of those findings and all of those log analytics into a service like Guard Duty that allows really overburdened operational security teams to focus more of their time and effort on remediation and providing that value add back for the organization. And continuing on the theme of automation, Security Hub now has enhanced the overall usability of the platform through a feature called automation rules. And really exactly what we've been talking about here with this new feature. Rules are created by admins to streamline their cloud security posture. And those rules that are defined by the security administrators and admins in your organization can be used to act on findings in near real time across all of your accounts, across all of your AWS organization. And again, really hammering home the theme of removing that undifferentiated heavy lifting from security engineers. We're really confident that this new feature will remove a lot of the repetitive tasks and a lot of that undifferentiated heavy lifting for overburdened security teams and reduce the overall mean time to respond to security threats and recover from security threats, which is, at the end of the day, the name of the game. One more across the Guard Duty family. The Guard Duty team has now launched an enhanced summary page for the Amazon Guard Duty console. We're really confident that this is going to help our customers more quickly identify and take action on the highest priority findings across your AWS environment. And really what this means is this kind of ties all of the previous announcements together by taking the automated rules that we can now define using those groups that I mentioned in the previous slide, taking some of the automated findings from our other security suites across the organizations. This really gives security teams and operations engineers that single pane of glass across all of these security events, the severity, the security findings, and really helps you to prioritize remediation of those findings with as minimal an operational overhead burden as possible. The top finding results support findings from EC2 instances, Amazon S3 buckets, RDS databases, and Lambda functions, along with Amazon EKS clusters. And as I mentioned, if you're operating in a multi-account environment, which is part of the best practices that we recommend all of our customers operate under, then this new summary page helps you consolidate findings from across your entire AWS organization and helps you move more quickly to identify those top impacted accounts. I am just curious. I don't know if we can do this level of interaction or not, Ron, but maybe kind of a show of hands or poll in the audience here. How many customers are using Guard Duty in their Amazon accounts today?
We could have got, next time you speak, Bert, let me know. I'll get that poll done in advance.
Perfect.
I don't think I can do it now, but if anyone's using it, just add your comments in the Q&A, please.
Great, great. And one more continuation on the theme of integration across our security suites. Amazon Security Hub and AWS Control Tower integration is now generally available. We had previously announced this and made this available in preview for certain customers, but this integration between these two critical services now allows you to pair your Security Hub detective controls with AWS Control Tower and build out proactive or preventative controls to help you manage security findings and security remediation across your entire AWS organization. Within the Control Tower library, this allows you or provides you with a holistic view of the controls required to meet a specific control objective. And this new integration now combines over 160 detective controls from the AWS Security Hub, along with the AWS Control Tower built-in automations that are already available for customers for multi-account environments. And this will give you a strong baseline to help you manage the needs of governance, manage the needs of security findings and remediation, using off-the-shelf controls required to scale your business using new AWS workloads and services. And this is now going to be incorporated into our AWS Foundational Security Best Practices Guidance, which for those of you not aware, this is a publicly available document that is available on the Amazon website, which provides a consolidated view of the almost 20 years of learning that we have operating secure workloads in a cloud environment that you can take and use as actionable recommendations when running your own AWS workloads. So one of the challenges that we've heard from customers, and particularly in the small and medium business segment and the startup customers, and this is certainly an area where I struggled in my past as an operations engineer, is that we find that a lot of our customers, with the risk of ransomware and a lot of the other issues that are plaguing our customers today, the need for cyber insurance has never been higher, and the ability to actually obtain cyber insurance from reputable partners is incredibly difficult. So we are very pleased to announce that we have been working with leading cyber insurance partners to help simplify the process of customers getting cyber insurance. And AWS customers can now reduce the business risk by finding and procuring cyber insurance directly from a validated AWS cyber insurance partner. This removes the amount of paperwork and the amount of business operational overhead and the amount of risk in securing your business and finding a partnership with a reputable cybersecurity partner. We've also begun integration of a number of our services, which will allow direct downloading and uploading of security artifacts and other critical findings directly to these vetted cybersecurity partners to continue to ease the burden of customers needing to work with cyber insurance partners. So this one is a particular favorite for me. During my time as an operations engineer, one of my very common tasks was setting up the jump host environment or the bastion host environment for all of our cloud instances. And this is definitely a pattern that stretches back into the pre-cloud days as well. With the launch of Amazon EC2 Instance Connect Endpoint, or EIC, customers in the past would have to either provision a public IP with an internet gateway or set up a bastion host, which allowed secure access into private VPCs that did not have direct internet access. Maintaining those bastion hosts became yet another source of operational overhead. The patching and the maintenance and the vulnerability assessment provided just as much operational overhead on overburdened engineering teams as the resources they were trying to access directly. So with the launch of EIC, customers can now benefit from all of the isolation of private VPCs without providing direct internet access to their secure database and other non-customer facing resources by directly using this service to provide the isolation control and logging needed to meet our customers' very aggressive zero trust security requirements and business objectives. On the theme of cryptography, the AWS cryptography team has announced a new connector for Active Directory. So we know that more Windows workloads are run in AWS than any other cloud provider. And soon our customers will be able to replace their on-premise certificate authorities and PKI environments with a highly secure HSM-backed AWS private certificate authority. This will allow customers to reduce their upfront PKI investment and ongoing maintenance with a fully managed and serverless solution. And this will also allow our customers to automatically deploy certificates using auto-enrollment to on-premise Active Directory environments, along with AWS managed directory service built for Microsoft Active Directory. And our cryptography teams did not stop there. Another announcement within the cryptography domain is the brand new service called AWS Payment Cryptography. This was launched to help customers remove dependencies on dedicated payment hardware and the associated security modules. The AWS Payment Cryptography is a cloud-native payment cryptography service that enables cloud adoption for financial service customers like GPN, Marqeta, Paya, and Discovery by eliminating dependencies on on-premise HSMs to perform cryptographic operations during payment transaction processing. The AWS Payment Cryptography provides cloud-native capabilities, including on-demand scaling of payment cryptographic operations, secure payment key storage, and this new service meets the relevant Payment Card Industry Security Standards Committee, PCI SSC requirements. The service also brings modern approaches to key management and aims to automate key exchange between those third-party payment providers. So one of the highlights of the Inforce conference were the insights that were provided by our senior security leaders. And Stephen Schmidt, the chief security officer of Amazon, took the stage. And one of the quotes that I found particularly fascinating was that an overly permissive access is an opportunity for an adversary. Doesn't matter how rigorous your security engineering team, how many controls you have in place. If you have left a window open, then an attacker is going to bypass that door and go through the window. Which really highlights the importance of customers continuing to adopt and mature their zero trust strategies across their organization, which is why we're really pleased to announce a new service, a new open source solution that we're calling Temporary Elevated Access Management, or TEAM, which integrates with AWS IAM Identity Center and allows you to manage and monitor time-bound elevation access to your multi-account AWS environments at scale. And really the problem that this solves for is the problem of long-running and long-living credentials. If you spend any amount of time in the AWS or cloud ecosystem, one of the original tasks that many of you probably have done more times than you can count, go into your terminal and plug in your AWS credentials and leave that file, save that file, which allows you terminal access into your AWS environment. And that's great, super convenient, but there is always a risk associated with those long run credentials. If an attacker gains access to your bash history, if an attacker gains access to those credentials, if they're inadvertently shipped to a GitHub repository or leaked in some other fashion, then those are the keys to the kingdom. We're confident that one of the approaches to continue to help mitigate this risk is reducing the need for those long-running credentials, and that is really the problem again that the team solution is designed to solve for. For the partner organization, we've also launched a new partner initiative that helps customers engage partners that have built automation and integration with key AWS foundational services. So if you spend any time in the AWS ecosystem, particularly around the security field, we rely heavily on our third-party security partners to work with our customers and help to address their security challenges and continue to mature their overall security posture across their organization. With the built-in partner solutions that are co-built with AWS experts, we have partnered with 11 initial security partners who are cloud pioneers in the security space, ensuring that their solutions are aligned with the well-architected SRA guidelines and follow our best practices for security rigorously going forward. Our AWS built-in solutions with our partners also automate deployments for customers and can reduce installation time from months or weeks to a single day. And customers often look to our partners for innovation to help them get the cloud right. And again, these are the initial 11 partners that have worked tirelessly with the AWS built-in team to achieve the validation of deployment automation and software integration following very strict AWS SRA guidelines. I'd like to thank Trend Micro, CrowdStrike, IBM, Laminar, Lacework, Sumo Logic, Orca Security, CloudCheckr, Wiz, Deepwatch, and Monte Cloud. Again, they are cloud pioneers and are the first to be recognized as partners with AWS built-in. So that's it for my recaps. Reinforce 2023 is over, but reInvent 2023 is right around the corner. For those of you who may not be aware, AWS reInvent is our premier learning conference that's hosted by AWS for the global cloud computing community. This is an in-person event that features keynotes, announcements, training, certification opportunities, and access to over 2,000 technical sessions, the expo floor, after-hours events, and my personal favorite opportunity at every AWS conference, the networking opportunity. Registration for reInvent is now open, and I really hope to see you all in person in Las Vegas in November. So again, thank you, Ron. Thank you, the Angelbeat team, for giving me the opportunity to speak with this audience. Really enjoyed the opportunity and looking forward to continuing the conversations.